Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. We have got a Halloween tumbler for you today. I'm really excited about this one, so we are just going to jump right in. We're starting with a 30-ounce skinny straight tumbler, and we're going right to the turner with this one. We're going to do a quick glitter method here. So I've got about 30 to 40 milliliters of Flynn Sisters Artist Cure epoxy, and I mixed in about a 1:3 or 1:4 ratio of silk from Peachy Olive Glitters. You can use any fine cut white glitter that you want, but essentially what we're going for is full saturation of that glitter in your epoxy so that when you apply it to your tumbler, it looks like you glittered the cup in the traditional way. So I'm going to put all of that epoxy on my tumbler, torch it, let it dry, and then we'll be ready to jump in with our next step. Super easy. Love the quick glitter method. All right, so we've got our glittered tumbler here. This is totally smooth and shiny, ready for our semi-transparent vinyl. You want to make sure before you add your semi-transparent vinyl or clear decals or anything that you don't have any dull sanding marks or anything like that on your tumbler. You want your cup to be completely smooth and shiny. So if you need to do some sanding on your tumbler, make sure you either do a coat of epoxy, which is what I recommend, or if you're in a hurry, you can do a coat of clear gloss spray. But I always recommend just doing an additional coat of epoxy, making sure your cup is totally smooth, doesn't have any sanding or dull marks on it. That's going to make your semi-transparent vinyl look a whole lot better. If you have sanding marks on your tumbler and your tumbler's kind of dull, if you put clear vinyl over that, it's going to essentially shield that part of the tumbler from shining back up with epoxy. So you'll see all of those dull marks and it'll just look weird under your vinyl. So make sure you have a smooth, shiny surface before getting to this step. Okay, so we've got our cup ready for the vinyl. We're going to use this really cute pattern from the Vinyl Cottage. This is right up my alley. You guys know I love the wavy lines. Now, we're going to use this in a little bit of a different way. We're going to take this little strip of the vinyl, we're going to cut that out and apply it vertically to our tumbler to create kind of like a half split fun design. So I'm just going to cut this out because this is the complete section. It won't look like anything is missing or cut out. So I'm going to cut this out. Now remember, this is clear, so we don't really need to have our lines perfect. We don't need to cut it out perfectly. All of the clear vinyl is going to disappear under epoxy. Okay. So now we've got this and we can use this for something else. Obviously, we're going to save this. But we've got our section of super cute wavy lines and spider webs. So on our tumbler here, I'm just going to, I think I'm going to line up this bottom edge, or maybe, yeah, I think I'm going to line up the bottom edge, and we're just going to, I want to get as much of the waves on there as I can. So I think I'm going to do the top here so we can get two of these and one of these on. So I'm just going to measure, make a mark here. And I'm going to cut this down so that it fits perfectly on our cup. So I'm just going to put this in here and cut that straight line. So now this should fit perfectly on our tumbler. I'm going to cut this one down too. Okay, so we're going to line up the bottom so that we don't have anything excess hanging over here. We don't want any crinkling or anything down at the bottom. So I'm going to go about as far as I can without anything crinkling. And I'm going to take some tape to secure this to our cup. We do have a little bit of excess, actually. I need to cut off the top. But it's not much. So I made my mark. I'm going to go a little bit lower than that mark because I don't want any wrinkles up at the top rim. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of excess. Just that much. Now this should fit perfectly on our cup and we won't have to cut off any excess. So I'm going to line this up with the body of the tumbler here. Doesn't matter where you put it because remember, we don't have any mark lines or anything on here, so not a big deal. I'm going to tape this in place. just like that. So we'll have a little bit of a section here to put our decal. So what I'm going to do is just treat this like any other vinyl wrap at this point. I'm going to pull this away from the backing. I'm going to cut this away. Then I'm just going to apply the vinyl to the cup, trying to keep everything straight. Just like that. It pops so well on the white. I'm really excited. Okay, so now we can remove this tape because the vinyl is secured to the tumbler, and we can just smooth this onto the cup the same way that we would with any other vinyl wrap. I'm just going to go around, make sure we don't have any wrinkling or anything. Now, if you do have any wrinkled areas, if you can make it so that they end up in the clear section, that's easy because you can just cut that clear vinyl out and then you don't have to worry about it. It just looks totally smooth. All of that will disappear under epoxy and everything will be perfect. So there's our wavy lines. So after my wavy lines were applied, I did add a thin coat of epoxy to my tumbler to seal the vinyl in before I moved on to the decal, but you don't have to do that. If you want to put your vinyl and your decal on within the same coat of epoxy, you totally can. I just wanted to add a coat of epoxy to protect that vinyl. So now we are going to move on to our decal. The decal we're using today says, "If you've got it, haunt it," and it's available on my website. It does come with the offset. So I cut out the offset in this really pretty coral glitter vinyl, and then for the top layer we're using a really pretty periwinkle blue vinyl. I tried to pick colors that matched some of the colors in the wavy lines that we've got on our wavy vinyl, so everything goes together. So we're going to start by laying down our offset, and to do that I'm going to cut away all of this excess white backing from around our decal so that I can ensure that this is placed as perfectly as possible within this open section on our tumbler. So I'm going to lay it down, and then I'll take my measuring tape and measure around the edges and everything to make sure that it is as centered as possible. Once I've got the decal in the position that I want it, I'm going to pull back the backing and use the hinge method to apply the decal. So I'm slowly just going to push the vinyl onto the cup, pushing the backing away in the process, and that will ensure that our vinyl doesn't move as we apply it to our tumbler. I'm going to smooth that down and then remove the transfer tape, and I'll use that same piece of transfer tape to place the top layer of our vinyl. And you guys know how I do. I'm going to put the transfer tape on, and then I'm going to cut my decal into as many small pieces as I can manage because I want to make sure that I get these lined up perfectly with the offset. So I'm going to do pretty much every word on the top, and then I'm also going to cut apart the haunt word. So we're going to do the H with the spider web by itself, and then we'll do the rest of haunt by itself as well. Of course, like I always say, if you want to place your decal in one big piece, be my guest. I'm just more confident doing it in small pieces to make sure everything gets lined up the right way. After my decal was applied, I went right into my final coats of epoxy. So I'm going to do one coat of epoxy, and then I'll do all of my sanding, and then I'll do another final coat of epoxy. So technically one real final coat, but 2 coats over the vinyl. And once that's all done, we are all done. So here is the final result. I really love how this turned out. I definitely like this kind of happy, fun Halloween vibe. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm so excited to bring some Halloween designs to you. If you missed the announcement on Instagram and Facebook, I will be doing a 13 days of Halloween series here on my channel, just like I do with the 12 days of Christmas. So every day from September 1st through September September 13th, I'll be posting a brand new Halloween tutorial on my channel. So if you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos and you don't miss the 13 days of Halloween and the 12 days of Christmas. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.